K-Drama Cycle presents a story that left millions holding their breath, a story not about fame or spotlight, but about loyalty, silence, and the unspoken bond between two of China's brightest stars. This is Disappearing Act, the mysterious night Wang Yibo went missing and Xiao Zhan's quiet watch. It all began on a cold evening that should have been ordinary. The city was buzzing, fans were online, and Wang Yibo had just wrapped up a rehearsal for an upcoming event. Those who saw him last said he seemed quiet but focused, his usual calm demeanor masking whatever thoughts lingered behind those eyes. Hours later, his phone went dark. No calls, no updates, no posts. Wang Yibo had vanished. At first, no one noticed. In the world of celebrities, silence isn't unusual. Sometimes it means rest, privacy, or just a break from the noise. But as hours turned into a full night with no word from him, concern started spreading. Fans flooded social media asking, "Where is Yibo?" Management issued no statements. The quiet grew louder, and that's when one name began to surface: Xiao Zhan. Sources revealed that Xiao Zhan had been the first to notice something was off. He reportedly tried reaching out to Wang Yibo multiple times, only to get no response. Those close to him said he didn't panic right away, but his silence spoke volumes. He waited. He stayed awake long after midnight, scrolling through his phone, hoping for a message that never came. By dawn, the rumor mill was spinning out of control. Fan sites speculated everything from exhaustion to a deliberate disappearance. But behind closed doors, Xiao Zhan's concern had already turned into quiet worry. A close friend described the scene. He didn't sleep. He kept checking his phone, staring at the last message Yibo sent him. It was just 2 words, "See you." No one knew what those 2 words meant until much later. Hours passed. The world began to panic. Wang Yibo's team remained unreachable, and whispers of conflict or personal distress started circulating online. But while the internet speculated, Xiao Zhan did something different. He acted. According to one insider, he personally reached out to a few of Yibo's closest staff, asking if anyone had seen him leave the building. When no one could answer clearly, Xiao Zhan reportedly went quiet again, locking himself in his studio, refusing interviews or appearances that day. And then, late into the next night, something happened. A small update appeared on a private fan platform: "Yibo is safe." No explanation, no details, just that. But for Xiao Zhan, those few words were enough. People who saw him that night said his expression softened for the first time in days. He didn't post anything online, didn't comment, didn't speak about it, but those close to him said that he stayed up that night too, this time in silence, simply grateful. Later, Wang Yibo resurfaced publicly, looking composed, though noticeably quieter than usual. During his first appearance after the incident, fans noted that his eyes seemed heavier, his smile more subdued. When reporters asked about his brief disappearance, he simply replied, "Sometimes you need to step away to find balance." He didn't elaborate further. But what caught everyone's attention was what happened at the next award event. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo appeared on the same stage for the first time since that mysterious night. Fans held their breath as the two greeted each other. Their handshake lasted a moment longer than usual, their expressions unreadable, but their eyes told a story. Cameras caught Xiao Zhan patting Wang Yibo's shoulder lightly before stepping back. That single gesture became one of the most shared moments online. To many, it was the silent message, "I'm glad you're okay." The entertainment world exploded with theories. Was it burnout? Was it pressure? Or was it something deeper, something emotional that the public would never know? The truth never fully came out. But what remained undeniable was the quiet care that bound these two artists together. Behind all the fame, there was friendship, real, protective, and wordless. Weeks later, Xiao Zhan mentioned something in an interview that sent fans into a frenzy. When asked about his thoughts on taking breaks and mental health, he said, "Sometimes people disappear not because they're lost, but because they're trying to find themselves again. When they come back, all they need is understanding." Fans immediately connected the dots. It wasn't confirmation, but it was enough. And for Wang Yibo, who later shared a reflective post about valuing peace and true friendship, the connection seemed mutual. Insiders claim that since that night, Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo's relationship grew quieter, but stronger. They didn't need to prove anything to the world. Their bond existed beyond cameras and fan expectations. It was built on trust, on the kind of loyalty that doesn't shout but stays, waiting through the silence. Months later, when Yibo released a song about solitude and rediscovery, fans noticed the timing. The lyrics spoke of a friend who kept the light on and a voice that waited through the night. The interpretation was instant. Was this his tribute to Xiao Zhan? Whether intentional or not, the message was powerful. It reminded everyone that behind the glitter of fame are real people, people who hurt, disappear, and come back stronger, sometimes because someone cared enough to wait. As of today, neither has spoken publicly about that mysterious night. Maybe they never will. But that's what makes the story so hauntingly beautiful. It isn't about mystery or scandal. It's about quiet love, friendship, and the kind of loyalty that needs no explanation. Fans continued to look back on that eventful night as a turning point. The night Wang Yibo vanished. The night Xiao Zhan waited. The night that proved that even in silence, true connection speaks louder than words. Because sometimes it's not the noise that shows who really cares, it's who stays quiet and stays present when the world falls apart. And that night, Xiao Zhan did just that. He didn't speak for the cameras, he didn't post for the fans, he simply stayed. Watching, waiting, hoping, and when Wang Yibo finally returned, everything made sense again. For those who have followed their journey from the beginning, this wasn't just another headline. It was a reminder that behind the fame are two human beings bound by something stronger than circumstance. A friendship that endures, no matter how dark the night gets. That was Disappearing Act, the mysterious night Wang Yibo went missing and Xiao Zhan's quiet watch. That night became a quiet legend among fans, a story that spread through whispers, screenshots, and online posts that faded as quickly as they appeared. But for those who truly followed Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, it marked the beginning of something deeper, a silent understanding that neither of them ever needed to explain. In the weeks that followed Wang Yibo's return, there was a visible shift between the two stars. They appeared together again for a joint endorsement shoot, professional, calm, but with a warmth that even the cameras couldn't disguise. Observers noticed it immediately, the subtle way Xiao Zhan glanced toward Yibo before the director called action, and how Yibo gave the faintest of nods back, like reassurance had passed between them without a single word. Behind the lens, crew members described their energy as synchronized. They weren't loud, didn't joke as much as before, but their timing, every movement, every exchange, felt perfectly balanced. It was as if the silence between them had become a language of its own. But for Xiao Zhan, that night had left a mark. Friends say he became more reflective, even protective of Yibo in small, unspoken ways. Whenever an event required them to be apart, different schedules, different shoots, Xiao Zhan was often the one asking Yibo's manager how he was doing. He doesn't make a show of it, one staff member said, but he always checks in, even quietly. Wang Yibo, on the other hand, had changed too. He started speaking about peace, balance, and purpose during interviews. Fame comes and goes, he said once, but there are people who remind you why you started. You hold on to them. Fans couldn't help but connect that sentiment to Xiao Zhan. A few months later, both men attended a charity event for mental health awareness. It was the first time they shared a stage since the night that had almost torn their fanbase apart with worry. Xiao Zhan took the microphone first, speaking about the pressure of the entertainment industry and how important it was to have someone who listens without judgment. Sometimes, he said, you don't need answers. You just need someone who stays. Then came Wang Yibo's turn. He paused before speaking, scanning the crowd with a steady gaze. Silence isn't always absence, he said softly. Sometimes it's healing. The room went quiet. Even those who didn't know the story felt the weight of his words. When he stepped down from the stage, Xiao Zhan reached out briefly, just a light touch on Yibo's shoulder, but it was enough to send fans into a storm online. To them, it wasn't a moment for the cameras. It was a moment for the heart. After that, the friendship between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo took on a new form. Less public, less performative, but undeniably real. Their interactions became rare but meaningful. Sometimes, a shared glance at an award show. Sometimes, a quiet repost of each other's work. Fans began calling it the silent bond. And yet, What most people didn't know was that during Wang Yibo's hiatus that followed, he reached out to Xiao Zhan privately with a project idea, a concept for a short film exploring loss, identity, and reconnection. Xiao Zhan agreed without hesitation. They worked on it quietly, without publicity, writing and discussing it late at night. The short film was never officially released, but those close to production said it was something deeply personal, a story about finding light again. When Wang Yibo later resumed his full schedule, his performances carried a new emotional depth. During one fan meet, a supporter shouted, "We're happy you're back, Yibo." He smiled faintly and said, "Someone once told me that disappearing doesn't mean giving up. It means starting again. I think I understand that now." It was subtle, but those who had followed the mysterious night knew exactly who that someone was. Meanwhile, Xiao Zhan had also evolved. His public image softened, still graceful and composed, but now grounded in quiet wisdom. When asked about Yibo during an interview, he simply replied, "He's doing well. That's all that matters." Fans called it the most sincere answer ever given in the industry, free of PR polish, full of honesty. As time passed, the storm surrounding that night faded, but the story remained. Fans often revisit old clips of them performing together, reading new meaning into every shared smile and glance. They see not just two actors, but two souls who weathered something heavy and came out stronger, together, even if from afar. In fan forums, one post became particularly viral. It read, "Maybe the most beautiful friendships aren't loud or constant. Maybe they're the ones that survive the silence." And that's exactly what Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo's story became, a tale of survival, of understanding, and of an unspoken connection that outlived rumors, headlines, and noise. Even now, when their paths cross, whether on stage, at an award, or just behind a curtain, there's that same silent acknowledgement. A nod, a small smile, a look that says, "I remember." Because in the end, that mysterious night wasn't about a disappearance. It was about two people who, in the middle of fame and chaos, proved that genuine care still exists. Xiao Zhan's quiet watch became a symbol of friendship that doesn't fade when things get dark, of the kind of loyalty that doesn't shout, but simply waits. And as the years go by, fans know one thing for sure: no matter how far they go, that bond, the one built in silence, will always remain. Because real connection doesn't need to be seen. It just needs to be felt.